Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allivo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Under clear skies, I've got 40 degrees on the barn thermometer. It was a beautiful, cool fall day yesterday, and it looks like today and through the weekend should be shaping up much the same. Harvest continues to roll on at full steam locally since we did not get much of that rain earlier in the week, and I would assume most places are going to be back in the fields very soon if they're not already. This quick calendar reminder, the Ohio Forestry Association is going to be opening its grant application window for small-scale projects. That takes place on October the 8th. Now, the grants are designed to assist an organization in a conservation education project, with a maximum individual grant being $2,500. Applications will be accepted between the 8th and November 5th, with the grant awards being selected and announced by December the 1st, so the funding can be used the following calendar year. For more information and to fill out that application, you can go to their website, ohioforest.org, and then click on the Foundation tab. Well, let's check in now with Ty Higgins as he takes a look at the impacts on farmers of the government shutdown.
The government shutdown that started October 1 is sending waves of uncertainty across the country, and America's farmers are once again caught in the crosshairs. Emily Buckman is Director of Government Relations for the American Farm Bureau. She talked to me about what's at stake, how long the shutdown could drag on, and how the absence of lawmakers in D.C. is stalling ag policy progress at a critical time.
When a shutdown happens, you see a lot of government employees furloughed. So you see a diminishing of services. So for instance, local USDA office services are severely diminished because you do not have staff there to administer the programs. There will be no administering of CRP payments, ARC PLC payments. Congress did pass a huge piece of legislation over the summer called the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So you see a halting in implementation of that, which provided a lot of assistance for American farmers and ranchers across the country.
Not to mention the Farm Bill 2.0, which was in progress before the shutdown.
We did just see a lapse in the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill expired September 30th. Generally, we don't see that, crisis point until the end of the year, which is where Congress will generally act. And really, we see it as an opportunity to continue to make that push for finishing the Farm Bill. But the longer a shutdown goes, the longer you take away from other conversations. And so we continue as an organization to urge Congress to come together, find a funding solution. We just want to see the government back open. It's not good for anyone. It hurts the economy. It hurts services provided to farmers and ranchers, and then prevents productivity in general as far as legislating is concerned.
You can hear our entire conversation online now at ohioagnet.com. I'm Ty Higgins reporting. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Ty. Well, let's take a look now at your Friday morning weather forecast brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com.
Chilly here as we get started on a Friday, but we've got some pretty nice weather headed our way. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with that Ohio Ag Weather Update. No major changes in thought process. I think we're basically dry here for the weekend through this entire upcoming week. The only hiccup I can see, there is a disturbance moving through Michigan and the Great Lakes area late this afternoon and tonight into tomorrow morning that can throw clouds down into Ohio and along and north of, let's just say, US 30 to be safe. I think we can see some spits and sprinkles. Clouds are not going to be as big of a story for Saturday down south of I-70, but we'll just have to keep our eye to the sky on some moisture early Saturday morning, midday in the northern part of the state. Otherwise, we're back to sunny and dry weather through the finish of the weekend and all of next week, as we kind of hinted at. Big moisture trying to come together farther west, but nothing that impacts us. Our next front that we have to look at probably shows up here late next weekend, the 19th into the 20th, with scattered showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder, 1/10 to 3/4 of an inch of moisture possible, coverage 75% of the state. Behind that front, we stay mild for next Monday, or the 20th and the 21st, but colder air is sagging southward out of Canada for the second half of the week of the 20th. Gear up for that. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's check in now with Dale Minyo as he has an update from this week's Feeding Farmers event.
Week number 3 winner of Feeding Farmers in the Field. It's the Schnipke family. We're in Putnam County and Chelsea. Thanks for joining us. How did you get started in this family?
I've always been a part of it. I grew up on a farm too with my parents. It's one of those things that if you don't grow up with it, it can be a challenge to learn because there's a lot of busy busy times and people aren't always available to, make the sporting events and the weddings and things, but you figure it out and we just get through it together.
What does it mean to you to be a part of a Century Farm?
I think it's pretty amazing to think that this farm ground has been in the family for over 100 years now. We have talked about how technology has changed from many, many years ago to what it is now, and it's just really cool to kind of have your hand in that and knowing that we're feeding America.
You're also a farm that participates in the H2O program.
It's really a conservation program that looks at, some of those fertilizer applications and things. What are we doing to keep the waterways safe here and clean in Ohio? And as farmers, we care about those types of things. We also have a crop to grow, but it's, a program that continues to make progress, keep soil health good, but also keep our waterways clean for the future.
And in order to make sure that ground continually is raising a crop, you've got wheat in for next year. We were having fun teasing the guys driving. It's like a little crossing over there. And he's like, well, sometimes it's dark.
It happens when the weather's coming, the rain's coming. Sometimes you just got to get it in. It might be late. There might be some crossover, but it's in the ground. We do wheat. We've got a cover crop cedar through Umberfirth. We do a lot of rye with. It's just important to keep that good soil health there.
And thank you, Chelsea Schnipke of Schnipke Family Farms. They're week number 3 winner of Feeding Farmers in the Field. Be sure to check out their video on Monday morning at ohioagnet.com.
Thanks, Dale. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more after this.
It's the livelihood of Ohio farmers.
Planting, fertilizing, tending, and working.
Long days, short nights, cab meals, and tractor rides with the kids.
It all leads up to harvest.
Farmers are parents, siblings, children, and friends, and they're working hard to feed us all.
Give farmers plenty of room to work on the roads this harvest season.
From all of us here at the Ohio AgNet, have a safe harvest.
Taking a look at your agricultural headlines, farmers are saying that current conditions on U.S. farms are weakening. This is according to the Purdue University CME Group Ag Economy Barometer. Now, farmers' sentiment held steady in September as the barometer rose just 1 point as a reading of 126. However, there was a shift in producers' perceptions of current conditions and their expectations for the future. The index of current conditions fell 7 points to 122, while the index of future expectations climbed 5 points to 128. Now, the survey was conducted following the USDA's release of the September crop production report and the WASDE report that came out. These reflected farmers' concerns about current conditions, particularly over the record high corn and soybean yields, which were pressuring crop prices. At the same time, optimism about the future was supported by the farmers' belief that the U.S. policy is, quote, headed in the right direction, and expectations that potential government support like the 2019 Market Facilitation Program will provide payments to farmers in compensation for lower commodity prices. Now, this barometer survey took place back September 15th through the 19th. The September Farm Financial Performance Index dropped 3 points to a reading of 88. That's marking the third consecutive month farmers have lowered their expectations for 2025 compared to 2024. Consistent with this more cautious outlook, fewer producers said now is a good time to make major investments in their operations, pushing the Farm Capital Investment Index down by 8 points to 53. Now, producers' short-term outlook for farmland values weakened from the 4 months in a row as short-term farmland value expectation indexes fell 6 points, that now at 106. The index now stands 18 points below its 2025 peak from May of 124. The shift was driven by fewer producers expecting farmland values to rise and more anticipating farmland values to remain about the same, with 58% of respondents saying they expected the farmland values to hold steady over the next year. That was up from 54% back in August. Now, policy changes appear to continue to shape the farmers' perspectives in September. A substantial majority, that being 71% of farmers in the survey, reported that things in the U.S. are, quote, headed in the right direction, similar to July and August survey results. However, confidence in the long-run impact of the tariffs has weakened. Just over half the respondents, being 51%, said they expect tariffs to strengthen the U.S. ag economy. That's down from 63% in June's survey, and 70% that responded both that way in April and May. Those surveyors said they expect the use of tariffs to have long-term positive impacts. Now, at the same time, 30% now believe tariffs will weaken the ag economy, and 19% are uncertain. That's more than double the number who responded in the spring. Now, amidst growing concerns about tariffs, most farmers expect the potential government support to help cushion the impact. In September, 83% of producers said a program similar to the 2019 MFP program is likely if trade wars drive commodity prices lower, with 62% calling it very likely and another 21% saying it would be likely. Now, each September since 2021, the Ag Economy Barometer has included several questions focused on cover crop usage by corn and soybean farmers, and just over half, that being 53% of those, reported using cover crops on at least some of their acreage. A share of that has ranged between 52 to 57% over the past 5 years. Among cover crop users, 40% said they adopted the practice within the last 5 years, while 9% have used cover crops for more than 2 decades. Survey trends also point to a broader adoption across acres. This year, 50% of cover crop users planted them on 26 to 50% of their acres, compared to only 25% back in 2021, who reported planting cover crops on more than 1/4 of their acres. Now, the high production costs and weak crop prices are pressuring farm incomes on U.S. crop farms. A large majority of U.S. farmers expect the government support to bolster farm incomes if the crop prices remain weak. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
It's time now for today's market analysis, brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Call 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC.
Grain markets mixed to mostly weaker on Thursday, setting up quite the show to finish the week here on Friday. Choppiness was the key word of the day yesterday. Either there's something for both the bulls and the bears, or there's nothing for either side. Directionless trade remains the most probable until we get more objective yield data. That should occur in the next 10 days, but where do you get that yield data from? Because it's not going to be the U.S. government, right? Crop progress is not happening here at all. There's also needing to be more known about the U.S.-China meetings in late October. China's tightening of the global rare earths trade could cause a little bit of an undercurrent that really hurts the soybean talk. President Trump putting out a couple of tweets or statements yesterday, I believe at one of his cabinet meetings, that said, first of all, hey, we do need to talk soybeans with Xi, with China. That's a big, big thing. But Trump also said bluntly, maybe we just need to stop importing anything from China. And that was an interesting round of discussion. So it's going to be very, very key to see how the ag situation plays out. Also, nothing new on any kind of ag assistance package, let's just call it. Lingering in the background in the near term are continued uncertainty over yields, large regional discrepancies being reported out there so far. For example, here over most of the eastern Corn Belt, we're seeing excellent bean yields and some that are disappointed. And then you get into corn, and it's not nearly as close to what we were hoping for a few weeks ago. Go out west, and it's kind of flipping the other way. There is still a large oversupply in the corn market ahead. Carry over on U.S. corn stocks down about 230 million bushels year over year, but there is plenty out there. Also lingering in the background are larger than projected non-U.S. grain supplies. Canadian sources are telling us maybe final canola production there is going to be up at least 1 million metric tons year on year. Wheat production in Canada up big. Argentina wheat should be in good shape. You get the idea. Plenty of grain to go around the world. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's take a look now at how your markets closed, brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. December corn closed down 3 3/4 cents, and March corn was down 3 3/4. November soybeans closed down 7 1/4 cents, while January beans were down 5 3/4, and December Kansas City wheat closed down 3 1/2 cents, while December Chicago wheat was down 3/4 penny, and December Minneapolis wheat was actually up 1 1/2 penny. Taking a look now at the overnight trade, we find December corn trading up 1/4 penny at $4.18 1/2 cents. March corn is up 1/2 penny at $4.34 1/2. November soybeans are trading up 1/4 penny at $10.22 1/2 cents, with January beans up 1/2 penny at $10.39, and wheat for December trading up 3/4 penny at $5.07 1/4 cents. The July 26 new crops up 1/4 penny at $5.48 1/2. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.